bless America, land that
So just a couple of visitors today I want to announce. First of all, a guest of mine, Mike Miriam. Have you been introduced to Mike before? Visitors that I may not have seen at my I have one unfortunate it was last Sunday, just I touched on that a couple of weeks ago. And really reset. So you'll hear more about what we're going to dig our hands for our next service project and what are some of the goals. So that's coming up July 28th. Don't be surprised if you don't see a survey coming out of that, some action plans. But in the meantime, we're launching more summer activities working behind the scenes. So also keep logging in your volunteer hours, and I do have just a couple of other small quick things. You know that Dan and Mike Bryce has joined our club, and we have a badge in our club. This is not official club in circumstance because he's already a member, but you do have a badge in yours. I've already got a job for you to do. Also, for experience, we always look for ways to do celebration. Here's a plan. I'm not going to pin it on you. I'm really excited. You actually get to see them. With that said, one indication of the quality from Mr. Oliver is the quality of the guests that he has today, his first one. These days, I will just say
If you have ideas, let me know. So today's program is Amanda Leech with the United Way, which when I met her outside and then I came in, she knew everybody already. So you guys already know her, but I will give a brief introduction. So Amanda is the executive director at United Way of Harrisonburg and Rockingham. So she's been there for a while, but newly the director. But before being the director, she had the role of director of donor engagement. And prior to working with the United Way, she had various roles within the JMU Office of Alumni Engagement while pursuing her master's in human resource development. One of her greatest passions in life is to help make spaces for people to belong, and she believes wholeheartedly that we can accomplish more together than we can on our own. So she is excited to be here, and I am very excited to have her. So join me in welcoming Amanda.
Okay, do I have to stand over there?
No, I'll just stand there. I'll get you.
Oh, can I move around?
Yeah.
I'm gonna move her around her. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. As a former communication studies student, presentational speaking brings me great joy. So I actually am delighted to be with you all. There are some familiar faces in the room. There are a lot of people that I don't know. One thing I'll say before I get started is some of y'all have beautiful singing voices. That was so delightful. I was like, I'm not gonna burden anyone with my singing voice. I just listened and that was delightful. So thank you. I'm actually going to start because I don't know all of you. You let me know.
There you go.
I'm going to start by telling you all a little bit about myself because I think it brings some good context to why I love this role that I'm in at United Way. So I'm going to first by sharing that I am a military kid, grew up in a military family. We moved about 6 times before I was in middle school, all in the United States. My dad was in the Navy for many years as a civil engineer. This is my dad. I think I was about 10. We lived in Port Hueneme, California, and this was him getting ready to go. He lived on Johnston Atoll, which is pretty close to Hawaii, for about a year. Doing his work. And so I grew up in a family that sometimes mom, who worked full time, was on her own. She was essentially a single parent with 2 kids. I have a sister. I could not find a picture of her around the same time, so I should have photoshopped her in there, but I have a sister. But we did move around a lot. So you heard in my intro that something really important to me is belonging. And because I moved around a lot and had to make new friends, that has become even more important in my life. I'm a double Duke. We have any other double Dukes in the room? Yeah, okay. So moved around a lot. We ended up in Virginia Beach. I came to JMU, and within, I think, a week of being there, I called my mom, was walking back from one of the dining halls to my dorm. And I said, oh, Mom, yeah, I'm just walking home. And I think she cried a little bit on the phone because I had called this new place that I'd been for about a week, home already. And it's been very obvious for me since coming in early 2005 that, yeah, I moved around a lot, but Harrisonburg really does feel like my home. Got my master's here. I met my husband at JMU. We've lived here for, oh my gosh, I don't even know now. We took a brief stint over in Charlottesville and didn't love it. And so we came back. But I really do love this community. And I'm so happy to live in a community with so many great higher education institutions. I've been with United Way for a little over 6 years. So I started as the Director of Business Engagement, doing most of our fundraising work, and have recently become Executive Director. I chose this picture because it's a double whammy. I love to run. So this is me at one of the VA Momentum Valley Fourth Run events, like probably PRing, which is why I'm jumping over the finish line. But I'm a very active person. And so if you ever want to like go on a running meeting, that is totally of interest to me. Braden's like, what's wrong with you? So, you know, that's just me. I have 2 really awesome kids. I can't talk about myself without talking about my daughters. Frankie is this one. She is almost 8. And then my youngest is Mira. She looks almost identical to me when I was that age. My husband, Matt, is there in the middle. I don't know if anyone else grew their hair long during the pandemic, but Matt grew his hair very long, had a ponytail and everything. We love the beach. Again, I will say, raising a family here has been truly delightful. It's one of the things I tell people who are new to this community is that it is really, really awesome, an awesome place to raise a family. So with the number of opportunities here, I feel really fortunate to be a part of this community, even though it's not technically my home, it really does feel like my home. So with that being said, I want to get to know the room for just a few minutes, and Braden's going to pass around some pieces of paper. And I want to really focus on one question. And this is a question we've been using for this past couple of months this summer to get to know our community. I'm new in this role. I want to listen. I want to hear from you all what things that we can do as United Way to really serve the community in a better way. So we've been asking this question to our funded partners, to clients that we serve in the community. And this is the question I want to pose to you all today. If you could change one thing that would make life better for you, your family, or our community as a whole, where would you start? I'll read it again. If you could change one thing that would make life better for you, your family, or our community as a whole, where would you start? So I want you to take a minute, think of an answer. You can jot it down. I collect them. Again, this is my goal with this, is to really just listen and hear from you all as business leaders and leaders in our community of what you think about our community in this question. And I will ask, if anybody feels compelled to share, I would love to hear from you all. Oh, people don't have pens. Oops, well. Yeah, Tom says Ben ready to answer. It's at United Way. $20 fee, minimum fee. Yeah, thank you for, I assumed everyone had pens. You all don't carry purses? What's wrong with you? Well, while we're waiting for pens, does anybody want to share an answer? You can just pick one if you want. Yeah. And what's your name?
Michael,
Michael. Nice to meet you, Michael.
they passed a law to not be on your phone when you're driving. I would love that to actually be happening.
That's for you, is that a safety?
I bicycle, you run, I bicycle.
Yeah.
And I've been hit, so.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, my husband is a big cyclist. He rode to Charlottesville a couple weekends ago from here, and
I've seen people with their phone right in front of their,
yeah,
on their steering wheel as they're driving.
yeah.
Oh,
So safety,
yeah.
specifically vehicular. Okay, what else?
Well, I'll tie into next week's presentation, which
Yeah.
is childcare.
Childcare. More
More accessible. more
accessible.
affordable.
Yes, wonderful. That's certainly something that is a challenge, as many of you all in the room know. And I want to take that as an opportunity to say thank you to the local Rotary clubs for supporting childcare through your fundraising initiatives. It's huge. It's going to make a tremendous difference for local families who need, that's the business. We say this a lot at United Way. Childcare is the business that keeps other business in business. Because it's absolutely true. If you've got nowhere to send your kid during the day, you can't show up to work. So thank you for that. Yeah.
The roadways are pretty trashy.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm amazed that people still, I mean, you can recycle aluminum cans. I mean, I'm amazed that they're just throwing in the street or on the highway, on the road.
so cleaner spaces, cleaner roadways.
I don't know, maybe we need more trash cans.
Less homelessness and more affordable housing.
Housing is huge, and it's been identified by a number of partners as a number one priority. That's one of those foundational pieces that it's really tough to find a job or to get connected to resources when you don't know where you're gonna sleep at night. So I appreciate that thought too. Housing is huge. Yep.
More focused on mental illness.
Mental health resources. Yep, absolutely. I hope you're all also writing these down. Again, we'll take these back and include them in our feedback gathering in this process. Yeah, we'll do two more.
Locally, the suitcase clinic.
Serving our houseless population and making sure that they're getting the healthcare resources that they need. Absolutely. That's huge. One more?
Why not 81?
81. Yeah, sadly, United Way can't really do much about that, but I do hear you, Tom. Every time I have to go 81, I'm less kind of bummed. Well, thank you all for answering that question. Again, we're asking this far and wide as a process for us as United Way to really listen to our community. With me being new, it's a huge opportunity to learn from those of you who've been here longer than I have, who are engaged in a lot of other issues. So I appreciate you doing that. All right, I'm going to talk about United Way. Does anybody know the year we were founded? Shout it out if you know it.
1957.
Yes! Wow! Very good. I wish I had a prize for you. We can tie back later.
I was born that year, so.
Oh, well, that's really cool. Yeah, so we were founded in 1957. This is a photo from the very first time we gave out grants, from the first time that we invested back into our community. Community leaders got together, including, if you'll notice, it's an old photo taken from the DNR, but that's Charlie Wampler Jr. right there in the middle. He's one of our founding members. Leaders got together and said, there's nonprofits in our community doing incredible work. Why don't we do the fundraising and let them focus on their mission? And so that's really how we were founded. We were really a fundraising entity to invest back into our community. Now, as you can imagine, things have changed over the past 65 years. And now we are doing a lot of different work in our community. We're no longer just investing in great quality programs. We're doing a lot of other things. I'm going to talk briefly about some of the ways in which we've evolved over the last 65 years. The first, and this is not as big as I had hoped it would be, so the first one says advocating. This is fairly new for us as United Way. We have always been advocating by educating our community about the nonprofits that we work with. But more recently, we have been connecting with our local elected officials with some of the data sources that we have and really trying to demonstrate the need that our nonprofit community faces by working at those high levels with local officials, because we recognize that that's one of the ways to make long-lasting change. So again, advocacy is a new realm for us. We are continuing to grow, but it is a really exciting opportunity for our organization to speak on behalf of a lot of other nonprofit organizations serving our community. The second one says connecting. So we're often looked at as a connector and a convener in our community. When people don't know where else to turn, they often call United Way. We get these phone calls at least once a week of somebody who's referred from another organization. They need clothes and they don't know who to call. We have a bird's eye view of who's doing what work in our community and can very easily make that referral. We're continuing to invest in the best nonprofits making an impact in our community. We funded over 30 partners for the past 2 years. We do our grant cycle every 2 years to make sure that new organizations, new child care centers in the community are getting the opportunity to apply for that really necessary funding that goes a long way for the nonprofits to receive it. Engaging. So this map is actually very cool. In 2020, we actually pinned every single location that we had an impact on in that year. So this is a little outdated, it's still pretty accurate. These are all of the areas where we had an impact. So the nonprofit communities, the schools, city council, board of supervisors, we are engaged. You'd be hard pressed to find a human services issue in our community that we are not engaged with. Local conversations about housing, homelessness, food, you name it, and United Way is there engaging in that issue. And committing, the last one says committing to equity at the foundation of our work. So we recently completed an equity action plan that will ensure that we are being an equitable organization inside and out. So the programs that we do externally, as well as the processes that we utilize internally for our staff and board. So that's a little bit about who we are now, but we're still evolving. We're in the middle of a strategic plan. So I really look forward to a year from now coming back and sharing with you all the new and exciting things that we're working on then. But being new, I'm trying to take a little bit of time to just listen and hear from our community and make sure we're moving in the right direction. So I love this graphic because it really boils down who we are and what we do at the United Way. We connect, we convene, we bring people together. You heard in my intro that I believe we can do a lot more together than we can alone. I truly believe that, and I see that on a daily basis. I'll give you a quick example. There are a lot of organizations right now working on food insecurity. Organizations like backpack programs, food pantries, thank you. I lost the word there for a second. Food pantries, churches, and they're not communicating with each other. So what happens is sometimes food's getting delivered to the same family on the same day and it's the same items. So they're not actually being as effective as they can be. And if anybody knows Joe Benjamin in our office, and some of you do, Joe is amazing. One of the members of a food organization reached out to Joe and said, will you connect us? Will you convene us? We don't talk to each other in food service, in organizations providing food security, but we talk to United Way. And will you bring us together so that we're working more effectively and more efficiently together? And I just think that is an incredible role that we can play, again, because we're involved in so many different issues. We can bring all of those organizations together and help them set up the systems to be more effective. So that's one example of kind of how we live this graphic on a day-to-day basis. All right, so one thing that has not changed about United Way is we are probably, I would say, in my opinion, the best organization to connect with if you're looking for meaningful ways to engage with the community. If your business is looking for volunteer opportunities, call United Way. We are pretty well established as an organization that can do that very well. Has anyone ever participated in a volunteer opportunity with United Way? Oh, that's cool. Okay. Well, good for you, because according to a study from 2018, 77% of employees said that company-sponsored volunteer opportunities are essential to their well-being. Pretty high number of people. So y'all you're doing the right thing if you're getting engaged with volunteer opportunities. And another study in 2018 found there are a number of health benefits from engaging in volunteer opportunities in the workplace. So I'll read these. 8.5% increase in mental health, 9% increase in physical health, 7.3% increase in life satisfaction, 11% increase in social well-being. There's a big social component to volunteerism, and 4.3% decrease in depression. There are some real stats and numbers behind why it is so important to get your teams out engaged in the community. Not only is it helpful for the community as a whole, it is going to be helpful to your people and to you. So I'm not going to leave without, I'd be remiss to not share with you all an opportunity to engage in some service on September 21st at our Day of Action event. If you haven't participated, it is the largest day of community service in Harrisonburg and Rockingham County. Who's participated in Day of Action? Yes, okay. It's just the most fun day. I have the unique role of getting to go out and see teams. And while, yes, the work that's happening at Day of Action is so important, it often is the ripple effect of what folks learn that day goes far beyond just that day of service. So what we need from you all, sponsorships. Sponsors get early access to volunteer opportunities. We already have a number of folks in this room who are sponsoring, so thank you for doing that. We are excited about that. But if you're interested in sponsoring, I have information with me today. You get your logo on the back of that really nice fancy t-shirt that everybody wants. And so that's always a really nice thing. We would love for your team to participate. It's so fun. Every time I'm out there, I see, somebody is being silly and like doing funny stuff, and I'll think of better examples another time. But it's a great way for your employees to connect with each other and to have some fun while they do it. And spread the word. Who's not here today that needs to know about Day of Action? Who needs to know that there are great opportunities for their employees to give back? We'll be sending out lots of emails in the next couple of weeks about Day of Action. So shoot them to whoever you think would be interested, or give them my contact information. I'd be happy to talk more. I had to do this because there's Braden, there's Andy Van Hook, who's like the king of Day of Action. He's in like every photo we have. I'm gonna tell a quick story because I love to tell stories. I think it was 2017 or 2018. The folks from Massanutten Resort were out at Day of Action at EAUS, Elkton Area United Services. Anyone from Massanutten Resort here today? Okay, they participate heavily in Day of Action. They're great. They always have teams. They had a team out there that was helping EAUS with a lot of cleaning and moving and getting their space ready for some renovations. And as they spent the day with EAUS, Massanutten EAUS, the team from Massanutten learned that EAUS was in desperate need of some new furniture. They've been working with old furniture for a long time. Those of us in nonprofit know you kind of get what you get when it comes to office furniture. And the team at Massanutten said, well, we just got new furniture. We can run up to our offices right now and grab you some new furniture if that would help. So they did. They took a truck up, they loaded it up and brought EAUS some new furniture. And I think that was just most beautiful things that happens on Day of Action, because that doesn't happen through Zoom or through email or through social media. That happens when you roll up your sleeves and you go out and you listen and you learn and you work alongside with these organizations that are working so hard to serve our community. And that's what Day of Action does. It gives you the opportunity to learn about what they're doing. And United Way sits at the heart of that day of service. So that being said, what questions do you all have for me? How can I help you all connect to the community? What are the burning questions for the new ED who knows everything? Yeah,
Thank you. So Amanda, congratulations on the new job.
thank you.
I know you've been at United Way for a while.
Yes.
We as a club heard a lot about the Alice report a couple
Yes,
years ago
good.
when it came out. And your role as the executive director, how has the Alice report changed how the United Way operates, and what impact do you see it having in the future in your role as an ED?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not familiar, the Alice report came from United Way of Northern New Jersey, and it focuses on the population who make more than what's considered federal poverty level, but less than what it takes to afford basic necessities in our community. So really, we're looking at the working poor. I don't love that terminology, but that's sort of the easiest way to explain it. So we brought the Alice report on in 2017. And I think at that point, I was at United Way. It gave a data point and a way to talk about the population we were already serving. The population that is Alice, they need affordable housing. They need sliding scale childcare and childcare scholarships. They need reliable transportation so that when their car breaks down, they don't suddenly find themselves having to leave their jobs because they can't afford to get their car fixed to get to work. So initially, it really just put a name and kind of a way of talking about the work we were already doing. But since then, and I'm glad you asked this question, it's been an integral part of the way that we've really worked Alice into every part of what we do and considered that our sort of ultimate goal is supporting that population. There are a lot of, and I could talk about benefit cliffs and all kinds of different things that impact the Alice population, but this is a population in our community that if we don't figure out how to support them, they slip further into poverty, and it actually becomes more expensive as a community to support them. And so as we continue, and we are in the middle of a strategic plan at the moment, and so Alice is an integral part of what we do and the population that we serve, and really honing in on what are the most impactful ways that we can not only prevent folks in the Alice population from sliding into poverty, but how can we help them move along the scale from crisis to survival to sustainability, to where they are making incomes that allow them to have a little bit more financial freedom. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay. It's vital to what we do. Always happy to talk about the Alice report. Joe has done presentations to City Council, Board of Supervisors. We'll be meeting with local school boards. Anyone and everyone who wants to hear about the Alice report, we will be there. Just let us know.
One more.
Just out of curiosity, what percentage of our community falls above poverty limit? So it's not a hand down.
Yeah. It's a hand up.
Hand up. What
Absolutely.
percentage of our population and community here falls into that category?
Yeah, so it's about between 60 and 63% of the city. And it's a range because college students are in those numbers. And so we know there are some students who are living, and not able to meet basic needs, but we also account for some of them, just appearing that way on paper, right? And in the county, it's about 36%. So when you average this together, it's about 50% of our community struggles to, make ends meet at the end of the day. They're making really tough choices between, am I putting gas in the car or am I buying my medication to manage my chronic illness? Am I putting food on the table or am I buying school supplies? Like, these are really tough choices that we don't want anyone to have to make, which is why we focus on the work and that population specifically. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for sharing with us today. Let's give her a.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing about the United Way. Great presentation, great organization. Thank you for visiting today, Jake and Mike. Hope to see more of both of you, and we are adjourned.
Yeah.